Hey everybody, how's it going? Seth Williams here. You're listening to the REtipster podcast, episode 148. So today I'm talking with my great friend, Dustin Heiner. Dustin has been on the podcast a couple times before. We've talked about various things. His main emphasis in real estate is rental properties. He runs masterpassiveincome.com as well as successfullyunemployed.com. He's got a ton of stuff going on. His websites are awesome, totally worth checking out. A really cool thing that Dustin did this past year is he started this new conference for real estate investors called REWBCON. That's a Real Estate Wealth Builders Conference. I went to it and I was a speaker at it and it was awesome. It was like one of the coolest things I've ever done, mainly because I had made a really intentional push to connect with other investors there, connect with other land investors specifically. We did a meetup. It was just a great experience, and I really liked it because it was the first year this had been done, so it wasn't this massive thing with thousands of people running all over the place. It was a fairly intimate setting with, about enough people that you could actually meet every single person and shake their hand throughout the conference if you wanted to. So just a really cool environment. I had a great time, and today we're talking about REWBCON, essentially, and how that went and what Dustin learned through that process through planning his first conference and what this next one's going to look like in 2023. Probably some other stuff as well along the way. So, Dustin, welcome to the show. How are you doing?
Hey, Seth. I'm blessed, man, and really appreciate you having me on the show. And it was an absolute blessing to put on a conference like that. Really what it comes down to is everybody needs, and all your audience needs to realize this, and I know you realize this too. We think real estate's about properties or about land or it's about a specific thing. No, real estate's not about properties. Business is not about a product, but business and real estate, like real estate's about people. Business is about people. Life is about people. People are your customers. People are the people that you're going to be trying to buy a piece of land from. People are the ones that you're going to sell it to, or whatever you're going to do in your business, in your investing. It's about people. And the lessons learned from REWBCON are not about like how to run a conference better, which was good. I want to learn how to run a conference better, but I learned how little I know about real estate investing and how many awesome ways there are to invest in real estate, like land investing. I'm like, my goodness, I need to be a land investor. This is fantastic. Yeah. But I love being able to just share this with people. So I really appreciate you having me on the show. Then, I got to share this. Everybody needs to go listen to a podcast called Storyland. Seth did an actual episode, 2-part episode on my family and my kids. My kids were rolling. I didn't tell them. So the Storyland podcast, he basically tells stories for little kids. And fast forward, he got my kids' names, their ages, and everything about our house, where they live, like beds and bunks and all that sort of stuff, made up an awesome story. And my kids listen to this podcast over and over again. They love listening to it. I didn't tell them. Seth goes, hey, I'm going to put on a podcast episode on your kids. I'm like, oh, awesome. I'll play it. And I won't tell them beforehand. As soon as they heard Xander's name, and there's a little boy named Xander, they started laughing and rolling for literally 5 minutes. They could not stop laughing. So everybody, if you have kids, you need to join that podcast. My kids can't stop listening to it.
I love making kids stories on that podcast. I want to do more of them. I'm just so busy all the time. It takes a lot of thought to like make these short 6-minute stories. So if you have kids ages 4 to 12-ish, check it out. I'll put a link to it in the show notes for this episode. REtipster.com/148. But also, if anybody out there has kids and you want a story about your kids, I don't know if I should be openly offering this to everybody, but like, it's kind of a fun challenge to get some basic details about your kid or kids. I've done this for 2 people so far. Jesse is another guy in our audience who I made one for his daughter, Audrey, and that was a lot of fun to make too.
I love it.
Yeah, thanks for pointing that out, Dustin.
Absolutely. I can't say enough about it. My kids keep asking, is there another one? Like is there another one? Because every night we go to bed and we read the Bible and we do songs together and we pray. And with that, the first thing say, hey, is there another episode? So we can move on from that. But I just had to say, we literally were laughing so hard.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm glad you liked it.
But like that goes into what I was saying about REWBCON, about real estate investing and life in general. It's about people. It's about helping people and serving other people. You probably heard me say this in the past, but Seth, you were literally the first person I called. I was like, you know what? I'm thinking about doing this. I want to bring my community to meet your community as well as all these others. And for last year, for 2022, we had 28 total speakers, all have their own audiences, like literally a conference, in-person conference, where we all do different types of investing. But I said, let's bring all of our audiences together and have a lot of fun where we're actually becoming a bigger community where we're helping each other out. But really what it comes down to is people. And that's the biggest thing I learned, not just at REWBCON, but just in my life growing as a business owner, as a real estate investor. When I first got started investing, it was in 2006. So that was before the crash. But with that, I didn't know anybody. And there weren't many conferences. There definitely weren't any podcasts around. There weren't YouTube channels. And so growing up playing sports, I was always thinking, oh, it's win or lose. And so if I connect with other investors, then they're taking my deal. So it was like a competition. I literally thought that. And as I started building my business, I was keeping it to myself because all my friends, people, my family members, they had no idea. No, how I would say it this way. If I brought it up, they would say, you're crazy. Don't do that. You're going to go broke and bankrupt and all that sort of stuff. And so I just kept muscling along on my own. It was hard. Now, fast forward now, after I started, obviously I met you, I think Seth, it was like 2018, I think 2018, 17-ish.
Yeah, that's about right.
Around. Mm-hmm. Yeah, when we first met. And with that, I was from a conference, and that conference really helped me to realize the Financial Bloggers Conference or Educators Conference, FinCon. And so with that conference, FinCon, I realized that it doesn't have to be a win-lose in business. And then I started doing that for my real estate investing, meaning I realized I can connect with other people, other great business owners, people that are really good in this business. We don't have to compete. I mean, a rising tide raises all boats, so let's help each other out. And then I started thinking, man, in my real estate investing, I could do that same thing. That's when the floodgates of investing opportunities and goodness came from my real estate investing, was when I took the blinders or my narrow focus on, hey, it's either win or lose. No, if we help other people, my goodness, everybody gets so much better. Like life gets better, business gets better in investing. That's one of the biggest things I took away from REWBCON was as we brought everybody together as a community, now we're literally friends and we help each other out and encourage each other. When you're an investor, nobody in your immediate realm of influence, your friends, people at church and all that sort of stuff, if they don't do it, it feels like you're alone. But when you're around other people all over the nation, like there are literally people from all over the nation that come to the conference, we're all saying, hey, I just got this win. Oh, you did? Man, I've been in the dumps. So that encourages me to move forward. There's so many like terrific testimonials that I have from people that went to REWBCON and said, this really was what helped me, number one, be a part of a community, meet other great investors, and explode my business as well.
I definitely found that to be true. I mean, really, my only two conference experiences this past year in 2022, you were at both of them, Dustin. And even this past one at FinCon, we stayed in an Airbnb together, a group of us. I think there were 9 of us or something like that.
There was 9, yeah.
Like that alone was so mind-blowingly enriching. Like I have this massive list of ideas, genius that was injected into my business that I never would have had if I had just stayed at home and just kind of put my head down and worked on my stuff. Being exposed to other people and other ideas, and even if you don't do their suggestions or anything, just like being aware of what's working for other people in other spaces, it can go a long, long way. And you and I we kind of have the advantage of running podcasts, so we just naturally get to talk to a lot of people like this, but kind of brings it to another level when you get to see a person in the flesh, and the dynamic of the conversation is just a little bit different, and things come up that normally wouldn't come up on like a phone call or a forum. So yeah, it's an amazing thing. I can totally vouch for it.
Yeah, and when you're doing life with other people, especially like when I asked you, I said, hey, Seth, I want to put together an Airbnb and I want to get a bunch of other awesome guys that have really good businesses. Let's, put us all together. My idea was like, how do we extend the networking, the growth that happens at a conference outside of just the conference? And so if we were up till like 1 a.m., 2 a.m., 3, I was even, well, I think one night I was up till 3 a.m.
Yep.
That's where the best networking happens. And with that idea, I was thinking, okay, so how do we make sure that networking gets better? Like at REWBCON, how do we make sure? Because when you go to conferences, now I went to conferences when I worked a dead-end job. So if you want to listen, I don't remember which episode it was, but I shared how I got laid off and everything. Dramatic. It was horrible. But I would go to conferences when I was working for a company, for the government. I went to the conferences. It was horrible. I hated those conferences. I didn't talk to a person because I didn't have anything in common with these people. And I hated it. And so I went to my first conference doing the exact same thing, just saying, I'm just going to go to the sessions because I just want to learn from the speaker and didn't really care to talk to people. That was the worst idea. The best idea was now what I do is I literally don't even go to breakout sessions unless I specifically want to support the speaker or I need to learn exactly what they're talking about and I can talk to them after, which is right. You definitely need to do that. But you can always get if you can talk to them afterwards, that's what you want to do. But the content of what they're teaching, you can get that in replays. Like that, just the content's there. It's totally fine. But you cannot duplicate the networking, not just networking. That's not the right way to say it, because networking can be like a give and like a give, and somebody be taking. No, it's the community that you're going to miss out on. And same thing with that, when we got that Airbnb with all 9 of us inside that room, the whole entire house that had an arcade system and all that. It was amazing. With that, it was so transforming because we're literally engulfed in each other's lives. And that's when the best networking happens. Like if you're talking to somebody one-on-one, that is where light bulbs happen. Oh, you're doing that? That makes sense. I should be doing that. You're just brainstorming of how they're doing it, how you're doing it, and helping each other out. So that's what I love about REWBCON is that my businesses get better. My investing gets better. I'm realizing there's a bigger world. Like for everybody that is land investors, there's so many other ways to invest in real estate. And that's one thing about Real Estate Wealth Builders Conference is we brought together so many awesome investors that have their own ways of investing, and we can all help each other out, and we can all do it all together.
Yeah. Something that I'll just point out about you, Dustin. I've noticed this with a handful of other people who really know how to do this networking thing. I don't know if that's the right word or not, but they just know how to do it right. Like just today, you sent me an email with this idea for, a blog post for REtipster that would rank well and have a lot of value and all this stuff. And that is one of like hundreds of examples where you've reached out and you've offered me something of value. Like just because, like there was nothing in it for you. It's not like you were going to get something out of me. It wasn't transactional. It wasn't like, okay, I'm going to do this and then Seth's going to owe me one. It's like, no, like it was just, you were just thinking of me. Like it was just pure kindness. It's almost like you're putting yourself in my shoes thinking, if I'm Seth, this is what I would do for my best interests. And just like taking an interest in somebody, like really putting yourself in their shoes and caring about them as though they were like a close friend or family member. I don't think I'm as good as you are in that networking sense, but I think I do a similar thing in terms of like really just like videos and blog posts and stuff, like just doing stuff just because it's helpful, like there's nothing in it for me other than here you go. Here's a value bomb for you. And that when people are on the receiving end of that, like it really says something, even if they don't have anything to give back to you now, like it kind of puts you on their radar in terms of like, wow, he's genuinely interested in my well-being. Like I want to give this back to him at some point. And when you put that out there enough in life, it goes a long way and it does come back to you for sure.
When the Bible says, do unto others as you would have them do unto you, that really resonates with me and it'll benefit you. It'll benefit the other people. It's the right thing to do, all that sort of stuff. And so that's why I do the majority of things I do. But I want to jump to the reason why I called you up, Seth, was because you have the same type of heart for giving. The heart for, hey, I just want to help people. And if I get something out in the future, then that's great. But if not, I just feel good sharing that. If you're thinking, how can I serve other people? Eventually, it's going to come back to you. And that's the reason why I said, hey, Seth, I want you to be a part of REWBCON is because I wanted to build a community, but it starts with the speakers, the experts that are there. And I'll be completely honest that there are people that want to speak at REWBCON, but REWBCON's definitely an invite only. And there's certain people, nothing wrong with them at all. They just don't fit the community. The type of people that I want in my community are the givers, the people that err on the side of how can I help other people? How can I make their investing, their lives better? And with that, that's what I try to do. And you'll also find me like walking in the halls of REWBCON is something that I just love to do. I've also been not like networking type of personality, and I'd be standing there like off on my own and nobody would come talk to me. And I would always be wishing, oh man, I wish somebody would come talk to me. And then now, when I obviously couple that with do unto others as you would have them do unto you, that's literally what I do. I'm scouting. Like, that's the first thing I'm looking for. Is there anybody that looks like a fish out of water? Is there anybody that looks, they're uncomfortable, whatever? I'm beelining right to them and say, hey, how are you doing? How's the conference for you? Is there anything that we can do to help you? I want to see them grow and change, because the biggest thing comes out in my life, I found, the more people that I serve in any aspect of my life. It could be discipling people for my church. It could be helping people, coaching them on how to invest in real estate, gathering people together, REWBCON. Anything in life that I'm serving other people, my life gets better. And then not just my life gets better, like making more money or making more contacts or whatever, but what is amazing is the sense of blessing that you get when you're helping other people, just for no good reason other than I want to help this person.
Yeah.
It's such a blessing internally inside of you. So all that to say, it is really fun for me to do that. So I appreciate you noticing that. But every single person I meet, I learned this a long time ago. Actually, I learned this. I was a junior high pastor, interim junior high, which means like short term, junior high pastor for a while. And every single kid that I talked to, they'd run up to me, hey, Dusty, I want to talk to you, blah, blah, blah. And they wanted literally like 10 seconds of my time. I'd be like, hey, Billy, how's it going? Oh, you look awesome, blah, blah. Hey, I'm so proud of you. Blah, just really engulf, just engage with them 100%. Then nobody else in the room, just them. After 5-10 seconds, like, okay, good. And they run off. They feel like $1 million. If I'm talking to somebody and I see their eyes kind of wander, they're looking at other things down the hallway. They're looking at their watch, looking at their phone. Like, this person's not really that interested in me. So I don't want that to happen to me. So I purposely try to make sure I'm as focused as possible. All that to say, the biggest thing that you can do in networking or community or helping other people is to see how you can serve somebody else. That's the best way that you can help yourself in the future. Err on the side of serving. Like, how can I serve this person? In the end, it will always come back to you. If anything, you just feel better about yourself because, man, I'm glad that I got to help that person. Just that alone is payment in itself.
Yeah, man, absolutely. You got REWBCON number 1 out of the way in 2022. It was a success. The first year of a big conference like that, I mean, I guess I don't know, but it seems like a big deal because there's a lot of unknowns. Like, you don't know if people are going to come. You don't know what the
Totally.
challenges are going to be. Like, there's just so many question marks. But now a lot of those questions have sort of been answered. Like, you have this baseline to go by. So how is REWBCON 2023 going to be different? Like, are there things you're going to intentionally change, or I don't know, anything come to mind?
Totally. So couple things. One, we're having more speakers. We're having 35, or right now it's 35. We might be at 36, 37, but I got to figure out how to fit everything and connect everything and all that sort of stuff, scheduling. So speakers, definitely. And these are experts. These are literally people that also coach other people how to do this stuff. And they're coming. It's not a sales pitch like, hey, run to the back. And it's normally $1 million. We're selling to you for 500. It's not like that. It's literally all about helping people. So that's number one, is we're having more people that are speaking, that are experts on all walks of real estate investing, every type of investing. With that, the biggest thing that I am consciously growing in at REWBCON is community time or networking time or building that community even more. We're making sure that we're having even more time and more ways for everybody to connect together. And so with REWBCON, the first one, we packed in a lot of stuff. There was time for networking and community, but not as much as we wanted or as I wanted or as I realized we can do. So now it's going to be 2.5 days. So it's going to start Thursday right around noon, 1 o'clock. We'll have the orientation, but we'll jump right into breakout sessions. And then all throughout the conference, we're going to have a lot more networking, a lot more community-based things so you can meet other investors. And so anybody going to any conference, my suggestion is it's not the sessions. The sessions are going to be great because you're going to be learning, but it's the people. Remember, everything is about people. Real estate's not about properties. Real estate is about people. Conference is not about the breakout sessions. It's about people. So that's the biggest thing I'm changing or growing in is more community.
Yeah. There's plenty of other real estate investing conferences out there. What is different about REWBCON? What kind of person should be showing up to this?
So the biggest thing different about REWBCON is the giving nature of all of the speakers and the way the organization is set up. The Real Estate Wealth Builders Conference, we're building a community. We're not building a conference. That's what we're building in a community, because normal conferences, actually there are many conferences nowadays, what they do is they hire big name people. They basically pay, I'll give you an example, let's say Tim Tebow. A lot of people want to go see him speak. And so they pay him lots of money because he draws people into the seats. And then they have other speakers that have a product. They get up and hype and pump it up. And I'm not saying this is bad. This is just letting you know this is what happens. Mm-hmm. And then they say, you can do this whole product. You can do this, and you can make a lot of money. And it's normally $1 billion for this product, but now it's $1,000. Run to the back, and everybody'd run to the back. And here's what's funny thing. I literally went to a conference a week ago. I had one of my students who's now a coach here at Master Passive Income. He came into town to go to a multifamily conference. And I crashed the lobby, and I just kind of walked around. I didn't pay for the ticket, but I went and peeked my head into the main ballroom. And I'm looking, and I see the main stage, and I see all the chairs. I'm scanning to the left. There it is. There's the booth in the back, the table in the back. The majority of real estate conferences I've ever been to, there's that table in the back. Now run to the back. So every session, there's something being sold. This is what makes REWBCON different. REWBCON is all about the community. You won't see that table in the back. You'll only see people wanting to give. Now, we'll have sponsors, exhibitors that are showing off the services that we use in our businesses. I'll give you an example. I have a property management company that I use, or it's a software company. They're really good, and they're even free. We use their systems. We use their software. We want to put the right software, the right systems and services in place for you to utilize, as well as the experts. So what's different about this, it's no sales pitch, but at the same time, on top of that, it's all about sending out more information, like helping more and more people. So it's for anybody who is looking to invest. And I kid you not, I was so blown away at how many land investors there were, Seth. I could not walk 5 feet without, hey, what do you do? I'm a land investor. What? You too? One after another.
I was also blown away. It must have something to do with those emails I sent out, because I've never seen that many land investors at one conference. But to those of you who came, thank you. It was awesome.
That is something we're leaning into. So this year, we're growing into more intermediate to advanced type of sessions and coaching and all that sort of stuff. And so as we grow, as every year, REWBCON is going to be growing in community. All the speakers are going to grow. We also have the last year's breakout sessions that you can watch and download and be able to understand all that content. And then the next year, we're going to try to keep growing as every year. And you could always go back and watch those previous years. But the biggest thing is, if you're beginner, intermediate, or advanced, we have something for you. And the biggest thing, let's say you're advanced. Let's say you're a huge land investor. You've got so many things, and you're like, well, what is it for me? I don't really need to go for the breakout sessions. Like, you're 100% right. But what you do go is for the people. You're going to find so many other investors that might invest with you, you might be able to find properties off of them, or vice versa. Or you would even learn, oh my goodness, land investing is awesome, but man, why don't I get into storage units? Storage units is fantastic, or multifamily, or Airbnb, or mobile home parks. There's so many other ways to invest. You just need to be around the right investors that can show you how to do that, and then possibly even partner with you. So anybody and everybody, it's for you, especially if you're getting started. This will get your mind blown as like, there are so many successful people doing this, and they're genuine. They want to help.
Yeah, I can think of at least 2 people off the top of my head that I met at REWBCON that I'm actively doing business with. And I wasn't even looking for that. It just kind of fell into my lap as a result of being there. That's kind of what makes it exciting, is the unexpectedness of it. It's almost like an adventure where you go into this thing and like, we don't know what's going to come out the other side, but something cool is going to happen. And it's just cool to see things materialize and come together.
It was awesome having you, because when I asked, hey, Seth, this is what I'm doing, painted the picture saying I want you to do a breakout session and everything and do, public speaking. You're like, I've never done anything like that, but sure, I'll go ahead and do it. I was like, You were the first person that said yes. And then literally like that, like dominoes, so many people over and over again saying, yes, they want to come. And now we have, like I said, 35 expert speakers that are coming now. Yeah.
It was a remarkably good public speaking experience. I was kind of nervous about it just because it's not a normal thing that I do, but I probably spent 3 months preparing for this thing. So by the time I finally got up there, like I was ready to nail that thing, and it went really well. So it was very cool.
Well, also, what's also helpful for speakers like yourself is you feel like you're part of a community, which means they're like your friends. Hey, I'm just talking to my friends inside this breakout session. And so that is also really, really helpful, because normally the speaker for breakout sessions for conferences, a lot of times they just come for that specific breakout so they can get sales, and then they go. They don't stay for the entire conference. No, we're all investors. We're all in this together. So all the speakers, that we're literally staying there all 3 days, helping each other out, and we're going to be able to get people to work with us as well in our businesses.
Yeah, definitely. So we're in kind of an interesting time right now in the U.S. economy, and interest rates doing kind of crazy things, and the market is changing, and there's just a lot of unknowns coming up. Just kind of a general question: why is it so important to invest in real estate over the next few years? Like, should people hang on and wait to see where things fall, or should they jump in now without knowing where it's going to go? Do you have any thoughts on that?
Totally. Now, I get a lot of questions like, hey, Dustin, what about interest rates? Interest rates are going up. Like, they're worried. And I said, I'm actually excited that interest rates are going up. And the reason why, I make more money because it takes a lot of buyers out of the system. Like, they're not buying anymore. So that's one thing. Interest rates going up is good for us because in my line of work, when I have buy and hold rental properties, I don't pay the interest. I don't pay my mortgage. I don't pay for taxes. I don't pay for any of that stuff. My tenants pay for those. I just make sure I account for that expense. So all that to say, I'm excited for interest rates going up. I'm excited for this change in the market. I'm going to be making so much money. And people who are prepared, who already have the education, who already have the means to buy, funds and other people's money, and they're already ready to buy, like have the business built to, like, sending out letters or finding the new land deal. Like, if you already have that set, you're going to be ready to make a ton of money. In fact, I'm so excited. This is probably one of the best times ever to buy real estate in like the last 50 years, like even better than 2010. I think it's going to be better. Now, the analogy I like to really paint is, if you're going to be going surfing, you got to paddle really hard to catch a wave because you got to start moving in order for that wave to pick you up, or the wave will just pass you. Well, in surfing, you don't want to start paddling after the wave's already passed. So if there's a correction in the market, you don't want to all of a sudden now, oh shoot, it's the best time. And then now you're starting to learn. Now you start going to the conferences. Now you're starting to get ready. No, you want to start paddling before the wave comes, so that when that wave comes, you can literally ride it all the way in. Same thing with real estate investing. You need to have the education, you need to have the contacts, the network, the business built, the finances ready, the other people's money, like private investors. You need to have everything set up before this wave hits. Once it does, you're going to be making so much more money. So I am super excited. In fact, I am so ready. I've been ready since 2010. The last time this crashed, I was like, hey, it might happen again. I am going to be ready the next time so I can buy as many properties as I can.
Yeah, that's a really good point about being prepared, because to figure out how to run a business or even go after a certain acquisition strategy, like, you don't just snap your fingers and know that. Like, it takes months of learning and practicing and getting your feet wet in different ways. And yeah, I mean, when you suddenly realize, oh, the opportunity is here, but you didn't put in the months and years it takes to learn how to do that and connect with the right people. Yeah, you don't want to be caught too far down the road when the opportunity finally hits and then you decide to start moving. So that's a great point. I'm curious, and maybe you sort of have already answered this, but in your own real estate investing business, which I believe is mainly rental properties, right? Is that still the main focus that you're after?
Correct. I do other things like syndications and stuff like that, but yes, that's my main bread and butter.
I know you already had a really good thing going before REWBCON, but has that changed at all as a result of REWBCON? Like, have you seen new opportunities or changed your approach in some way because of what you've learned through this community? Or
Yes, totally. So I'm an investor. So I look at any type of investment property. It could be land investing. It could be a storage unit. It could be multifamily. It could be anything out there. My bread and butter is residential. So 4 units and below, buy and hold. Now that could be short term, medium term, like traveling nurses and traveling CEOs and stuff like that. It could also be long term. So I like all of the above. But with REWBCON, that really opened my eyes to see there are so many other great ways to invest. And I also did not get into syndication until REWBCON happened. Syndication, you pull your money together to buy a bigger multifamily deal, huge apartment complexes. In fact, one of them was 2 hotels. I got in with 2 hotels, which was super awesome. Now I'm playing Monopoly. I'm now in from land all the way to Monopoly, which is, hotels, which is terrific. And so it was because I saw that there are experts that I'm an expert when it comes to residential. I've done it so many times myself, coached literally hundreds, if not thousands of people now, that there are other people in other, like you, with land investing. Like, hey, Seth, I want to invest in land. Can you help me out? Oh, yeah, of course. And same thing with multifamily. So for me, it's grown to where I don't have to be the expert in every different way. There are other experts now. If I just invest with them, then I'm investing in those things. Now I don't get as big of a cut or, equity. Like if I buy a house, it's just my wife and myself. We make that money. If it's $250, $500, whatever it is, passive income every single month, that's our money. Now with the syndications or investing in land or whatever it might be, if we're partnering with other people, that's great. It's better to have a smaller portion of a bigger deal as opposed to 100% of nothing. So all that to say, there's so many great ways to invest when you open your mind, because I was literally closed-minded. I was like, just residential. I don't want to do anything else. I don't want to do anything else 4 units and below. But then I realized that was just wrong. There's so many not better ways, so many other ways to invest in real estate.
When can you officially start buying tickets for the REWBCON? And when does that happen?
Yeah, so we just started. We have the tickets for sale. It's May 4th through the 6th of 2023. And actually, everybody, I want you to use Seth's promo code. It will give you 10% off if you use Seth's promo code. So if you go to REWBCON.com, REWBCON, so don't forget the con.com, and if you use the promo code Seth, you will get 10% off the ticket. And it was so amazing. I think you had at least 30 or 40 REtipster people come to REWBCON, and it was so awesome. 100% of them said, we're coming back. We're absolutely coming back. We did not realize how many land investors came to this conference, and they had so many land investors there that they were so blown away that, hey, we feel like we're at a land conference. So yes, yeah. I absolutely, you can get your tickets now, but use the promo code Seth to get 10% off any one of your tickets. I personally suggest the VIP ticket because you're literally going to be around all the expert speakers multiple times, not just 1, 2, 3 times, but multiple times, because I want you to basically meet my friends, Seth and all these other expert investors. And if you guys know Seth, and you do know Seth because you listen to his podcast and watch him on YouTube, how giving he is the epitome of the type of people that we're bringing as experts. I don't bring anybody else that's going to be a jerk or, they just don't fit the community. Seth is the embodiment of what we want at the community. So you're going to be around Seth, you're going to be around myself and all these other great expert investors. So definitely get your ticket right now and use the promo code Seth.
Dustin just explained it, but I'll have a link to all this stuff, that and also everything else we mentioned, Dustin's websites and the show notes, REtipster.com/148. Anything else you should discuss, Dustin? Or did we kind of hit it all?
We've covered a lot. Now, I know people also want to get to open your mind that there are other ways to invest. Do you mind? I have a real estate investor course. I gave it away last time, but I can give it away again. Do you mind if I give that out?
Go for it.
Yeah, so I invest in residential, but I'll show you exactly how we do it, how I built my business to be able to quit my job because I have the passive income. If you text the word rental, RENTAL, rental to 33777. Rental to 33777. I'll give it to you. Show you how to build a business anywhere in the country, how to buy the right properties, how to make $250 a month or more in passive income, and you'll be able to scale your business to be able to quit your job. So you can also, I have my own podcast, and Seth is always, he and I are friends, so he's going to be on my podcast as well, talking about land investing and REWBCON as well. But it's just great being able to connect with awesome people like you, Seth. So I appreciate you having me on the show.
Absolutely. Speaking of texting stuff, so if you guys want to get a guide to 20 of the best top secret resources that I know about my business, text the word FREE, FREE, to the same number that Dustin mentioned, 33777. You can get access to that too.
I'm going to text that. I didn't know you had that. Yeah, I'm going to text that right now.
Actually, I got it because of you, Dustin, because you taught me about it back when we first met, the text-a-full thing. So.
Yes.
So thanks, everybody, for listening. Again, show notes, REtipster.com/148. Thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you again in the next episode.